My name is Gabriel Carrera. I live down here in sunny Florida in Fort Lauderdale. I'm an attorney in the area and I advertise as the attorney that rides. I've been riding motorcycles since 1979. And prior to my first Hoka, my longest trip and my first longest trip was in 1986 when I drove my motorcycle down from Hartford, Connecticut to Daytona Beach, Florida, where I enrolled at American Motorcycle Institute to become a motorcycle mechanic. Am I a spiritual person? I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I don't believe in Islam. I don't believe in none of that stuff. Jesus is the only way. I never really considered myself warrior, but what does warrior mean? Somebody that goes to war, like a veteran in Afghanistan. I don't consider myself a warrior, but a warrior would be somebody that defends the innocents, defends their country, like those that are serving overseas in harm's way right now. What does Hoka mean to me? Well, Hoka means it's a good day to die. I don't want to die. But to me, it's sort of like a shouting cry. You know, get up off your butt and get it done. And there were times when I was doing the Hoka, or when I was riding halfway around the world, or I'm on some endurance run, and I would just shout out, Hoka. Why? Because it would get me going. It was sort of like a battle cry to complete the task that was before me. How do I prepare for the Hoka? Well, that's a long drawn out answer, because first, it's physical, number two, financial, and to me, number three, the motorcycle. First, being type 2 diabetic, I worked on my body. Got in the gym, started lifting weights, running, cardio, get my body in shape, lost weight, because diabetics suffer from fatigue. And this is a cannonball race style run, so you have to endure. Number two would be my finances. I had to save enough money to pay for my expenses, as well as taking care of my wife, my children, and the employees that worked for me back at the law firm. Number three, I had to take care of my motorcycle. Part of that was preventive maintenance. For example, I threw on a skid plate because the underneath of the motorcycle is soft aluminum, and a rock hitting it could crack oil, put you outside of the run. You don't get to complete it. So we went through the bike, took it apart, put it back together, and anything that looked worn, we replaced. Put long distance tires on it and changed a couple of the shocks in the back and the shocks in the forks. Changed that out. So that's how I prepared for the 2014 Hoka Motorcycle Challenge. I would say that the Hoka Motorcycle Challenge prepared me, that it pushed me over the edge. And I found, by challenging myself and running with the big dogs, that I could do more than what I thought I could do. In fact, in 2015, there was no Hoka Motorcycle Challenge for the first year after its inception, because they converted to every 2 years. So I decided to find out what was the toughest run. And I decided to go from the bottom of the world in Ushuaia, Argentina, Tierra de Fuego, and drive all the way up to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, where I established a Guinness Book World's Record from the longest run on an American-made motorcycle from south to north. And I could not have done it had I not competed first in the Hoka Motorcycle Challenge, because I learned to pick myself up and ride by myself, to measure my gas, to measure my sleep. And if it wasn't for the Hoka, I'd probably just be sitting in front of a TV, eating Twizzlers and getting fat. Not only did I do this run, I also used it to raise money for Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital. And I yoked up with the folks from the South Florida President's Council Toys in the Sun Run, which is the largest toy run in the United States. And they raise hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in one single event. I went to them and I said, I want to help you. I got this run I want to do, and I want to raise some money. And I'm happy to say that I raised close to $50,000 through the toy run biker base, biker run, biker organized down here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. $50,000 to help children to get free operations, free medical care, free testing. That's what I did. And if it wasn't for the Hoka Hey, that would not have happened. If I can sum up what all my friends think about my involvement in the Hoka Hey, crazy. They think I'm crazy for riding 7, 8, 900 miles a day, day after day after day on like a 10 or 11 day run or something of that nature. That's what they think. But you know what? Respect sets in, because then you do something that they can't or will not ever attempt to do. So you want to show somebody that you can make it, that you can do it, set yourself apart from the pack, join the Hoka Hey. My expectations for the 2014 Hoka Hey, it was basically to complete the run without crashing, without being disqualified. I didn't want to be the first one, I just wanted to make it. And after making it, I tell you what, it was a great booster of my ego and what I could accomplish. And it gave me oomph to do other rides that were bigger, better, and greater. When you ride, you see beautiful scenery. I mean, awesome stuff. You know, only God could have created the beauty that I saw. And I'm riding and I'm barreling down the road, and boom, I see this great vast plain, mountains, snow top. And as the sun went down, it was like a pinkish, orangish yellow. It was awesome. And you see this not once, not twice, but from day one till the end and on your ride back. I'm going to continue doing these Hoka Hey challenges and other events, other rides that they may have. And the reason that I'm doing it is because I like the challenge. To me personal, can I complete it? Can I ride it? I don't ride against other riders, I ride against myself. It doesn't matter whether you come in first or last, whether you cross the line. That's what really matters. And I can't wait to do it on my Harley Davidson, or if I purchase an Indian, which I'm considering. But I'll tell you what, I like it that it's only American, because this American Indian motorcycle run, the Hoka Hey. On the run, have I ever received any type of support? Not for the Hoka Hey, but it's a little bit more difficult for an attorney. Because people say, oh, it's an attorney, why should I give him money to go out and ride? So basically, I fund myself. And it's better that way, because then you have no strings, you don't have to worry about any of that. But I do have a good friend that did donate a lot of LED lighting. It is Chrome Glow, and they're nationwide, and they're at chromeglow.com, and I think they're the best. It helped me out when I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's no light, it's dark. It saved me from hitting wildlife, let me see the road. And I want to thank Chris, and he's an awesome guy. He gave me the lights, but he didn't give me any cash. But maybe we can change something after this video, right? You know, while I was riding in the 2014 run, I met a lot of people. I would ride with folks, and then perhaps I had to stop for gas, or I needed to rest, and they would go on, or vice versa. And you know, I rode with a lot of folks and met a lot of folks. That was one of the greatest things, the people that you meet along the way. I participated in the 2014 Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge that went from Key West all the way up to Homer, Alaska. Then from there, I went up to Prudhoe Bay, up the Dalton Highway, one of the most dangerous roads in America, and shot back down to Key West. Well, since I'm from Fort Lauderdale, you know, I wanted to complete it where I started it. I learned about the Hoka Hey through my friend Jeff Cohn, and he had a great run, and I followed him in the 2013, and I got all excited. I said, I'm doing the next one, and I did in 2014. One of the most frustrating portions of the ride is when you make a wrong turn. And I remember, and I'll tell you, I think it was up in Washington or the mountains. I stopped at a road and I couldn't tell you where it was at, and the instructions said take a left. Problem was the instructions were incorrect. I had to take a right and half a block down, take another left to the road. So as I'm driving for about an hour and a half, I go over a mountain at the other side of the base of the mountain. I stop for some chicken and I ask for directions, and the guy tells me you're on the wrong side of the mountain. Okay, so I get back on a bike and I drive another hour and a half over the mountain. When I get to where I originally started, I stop to ask for directions and check my text messages to see if there were any updates. I noticed I don't have my phone. After a half an hour, I ended up calling the gas station on the other side of the mountain. They're like, oh yes, you left your phone here. So they had to drive back over the mountain an hour and a half and drive an hour and a half back. So basically, I think I spent about 6 hours going around in circles. That's all I can say. One of the most frustrating experiences on the Hoka Hay that I discovered in 2014 was when I was running around Yellowstone Park with some individuals that didn't know where they were going. Finally, I cut away. I went on my own to ride my own ride, and that night I hallucinated. I started seeing images running across, like I saw Scooby-Doo, and the shadows from the trees, from the headlights as I was riding. You know, you would see things, and what it was, it's lack of sleep. And I had been riding now about 4-5 days. I've only been getting about 3 to 4 hours sleep, and finally ended up going down the wrong road. In fact, I ended up at the wrong Harley Davidson dealership. I ended up in Billings, Montana, when I should have been in Great Sky, Montana, which was about 3 to 4 hours away. I walked into the dealership, and the first thing I did was I used the bathroom. I came out, I saw a coffee machine, I grabbed some coffee. All of a sudden I hear, who's Gabriel Carrera? Who's Gabriel Carrera? And I'm like, wait a minute, I just walk in. Sir, there's a phone call for you. It was my brother from Connecticut. Hey, what are you doing? You're in the wrong place. What can I tell you? Got a little sleep, got back on my ride, and drove to Great Falls, Montana. A couple hours behind, but that's what lack of sleep will do to you. It'll make you run around in circles and waste time. That's why you have to plan your ride and sleep accordingly. That's the biggest lesson I learned on the Hoka Hay.